Today, we be taking a look at the differences between the Balkan lynx and the Eurasian lynx. Hey guys, it's me with Animal Logic, and today we be looking at two different chief members of the Felidae family, and more specifically, two different species of lynx. We've got the Balkan lynx and the Eurasian lynx. So, let's get into it. First things first, let's go ahead and talk about how these guys are similar. Both of these lynx are found in Europe. The Balkan lynx is found further down to the south than the Eurasian lynx. They both have thick fur coats to help keep them warm during the winter. They're roughly around the same size. Both of these cats are very good at climbing trees. And while they do prey on many of the same animals, they not direct competitors. Because the Balkan lynx prefers to prey on smaller animals like hares, and the Eurasian lynx preys more on larger ungulates. But as you can see, there are similarities, but also differences between these two cats. So, let's take a closer look. First up, let's talk about where each of these cats are found. The Eurasian lynx has a much wider distribution than the Balkan lynx. As you can see here, the range of the Eurasian lynx goes all the way from Spain, Portugal, France, and the United Kingdom over to Russia, Japan, Mongolia, and China. The Balkan Peninsula is found only in southeastern Europe, primarily in countries like Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, Albania, Kosovo, North Macedonia, Bosnia, and Herzegovina, and Croatia. Within their ranges, they also occupy different habitats. The Balkan lynx is found in mountainous mixed forests, whereas the Eurasian lynx can inhabit mixed forests, but can also inhabit areas like swamps and even deserts. This could be one of the reasons why they have such a wide distribution. Now, although they can inhabit different types of landscapes, they are both very good at climbing trees, and this helps them to hunt and escape from predators. Their large paws help them to grip onto trees when they reclimbing, and also help to distribute their weight when they re-walking through the snow. And this is also another reason why the Eurasian lynx has a wider distribution, because it can travel through the snow without sinking. Another similarity between these two cats is that they are both very solitary animals. They tend to be most active during the dusk and dawn hours, and the only time that they really come together is during mating season or when females are giving birth. Now, being solitary animals, they mark their territory using scent glands located on the sides of their faces, on their paws, and on their flanks. The males have much larger territories than the females, and the size of their territories depend on the availability of food. In areas where there's lots of prey available, the males can have territories that are 300 square kilometers or about 116 square miles. However, if there is less prey available, the male's territory can expand to 900 square kilometers, or about 347 square miles. Now, the Eurasian lynx does have a slight advantage when it comes to defending its territory, because it can communicate using a special call that sounds like a bird's screech. Whereas the Balkan lynx is pretty silent and can only make soft meows, hisses, and growls. So it doesn't have the ability to communicate over long distances to scare away other lynx. These days, both of these species are listed as least concern by the IUCN. However, in the past, the Balkan lynx was listed as endangered, and the Eurasian lynx was listed as vulnerable. Both of these species were hunted for their thick fur coats, which is still going on today in some parts of the world. However, there are laws against hunting these cats. In most of the countries that they're found in, there are also threats to their habitat due to human expansion and development. The good news is that, thanks to conservation efforts, both of these species are doing well in most areas. Although in Bulgaria and Romania, the Balkan lynx is still listed as near threatened. And now, for the differences between these cats, let's start off with the scientific classification. As you may already know, they belong to the same genus, lynx. But the Balkan lynx belongs to the species lynx, whereas the Eurasian lynx belongs to the species lynx. Now, although they belong to the same genus, that means that they share common characteristics. They are still two separate species, and they did evolve separately. You can tell that they are two separate species because they have different physical characteristics and different genetic makeup. Let's talk about the physical characteristics. First, the Eurasian lynx has a much darker color palette than the Balkan lynx. The fur of the Eurasian lynx is usually a reddish-brown color, whereas the Balkan lynx has a gray or brownish-gray fur. They both have a white underside, and the tips of their ears are black. However, the Eurasian lynx has a distinctive black tuft on the end of each ear, whereas the Balkan lynx does not. It's important to note that the fur color of these cats depends on where they're found. For example, the Eurasian lynx found in Scandinavia tends to have a lighter fur color than those found in the south. And the Balkan lynx found in mountainous regions tends to have longer fur than those found at lower elevations. These adaptations help to keep them warm in cold climates and cool in warmer climates. The males of both species are also larger than the females, and on average, the Eurasian lynx is slightly larger than the Balkan lynx. The Eurasian lynx can be up to 1.5 meters or about 5 feet long and can weigh up to 30 kilograms or about 66 pounds. The Balkan lynx can be up to 1.2 meters or about 4 feet long and can weigh up to 25 kilograms or about 55 pounds. Now, The diet of each of these cats differs depending on where they're found. As I said before, the Balkan lynx tends to prey on smaller animals like hares, whereas the Eurasian lynx tends to prey on larger ungulates like deer and wild boars. Even though they can eat the same prey, the Eurasian lynx will typically leave the smaller prey for the Balkan lynx. The Eurasian lynx needs to consume a lot more food than the Balkan lynx and is capable of taking down much larger prey. On average, they need to eat about 2 kilograms or about 4 pounds of meat per day. Now, when it comes to their lifespan, both of these cats can live for about 20 years in the wild and up to 30 years in captivity. Overall, the Eurasian lynx is a larger cat with a darker fur coat and lives further north than the Balkan lynx, which is a smaller cat with a lighter fur coat and lives further to the south. I hope you learned something new about these two amazing cats. If you did, please give us a like and share it with a friend. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.